Welcome to the Soul Intention podcast, where we have soul-led, heart-centered conversations that inspire growth, connection, and purpose. Whether it's us or our incredible guests, we're here to keep it real and meaningful. Let's get into it. Hi, Natalia. This topic that we're touching on today is a little bit different, but we both felt called and inspired to share this topic. And I think for me, maybe for you, I think we're going to get a little raw and a little vulnerable today.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that, but you lead the way today.
Okay,
how about that?
I shall. So this topic for episode 3 is unlearning the lies, breaking free from limiting beliefs. So a pretty hefty topic, but I think there's a lot of value and depth in what we're going to be discussing. So to start off, I invite you, Natalia, to light our candle and get us into the session.
One of my favourite parts, taking that journey from the head to the heart.
From the head to the heart. So as I just mentioned, this topic is going to be looking at limiting beliefs. So we'll take a little time to discuss what a limiting belief is, where it stems from, and then we'll share some limiting beliefs that we both have and potentially some reflections from that. We have a really cool exercise that we want to share for listeners to do around understanding limiting beliefs, and then we'll have a fun little game. So, Natalia, shall we get into it?
Let's get into it.
Definition. How would you define a limiting belief?
A limiting belief is something that I would say is holding me back from being the highest version of myself. Yes. I feel like we're going to be sharing limiting beliefs that we are aware of. Yeah. And I feel like awareness is key because you can't change what you don't acknowledge.
Yeah.
But I think the real work is in being aware of the subconscious limiting beliefs. And I'm like, this exercise that we're going to go into, you haven't done it yet, have you?
No.
Neither have I.
Actually,
and
goosebumps.
It's a really big task.
It is.
But I love going deep. I love going into dark places. I love exploring all of that and shining light on those things.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I would agree that a limiting belief is usually a deeply entrenched, held belief that we have that doesn't serve us, that doesn't allow us to grow, or it doesn't allow us to achieve what we want to achieve. And limiting beliefs usually stem from past experiences, potentially cultural influences, or internalized criticism that we've either had from ourselves or criticism or things that we've had from others over our lifetime.
I do think that is learnt behaviour.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
If you are born and you are in a really uplifting, upbeat, positive environment, would you learn criticism? I don't know that you would criticize. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's an interesting question, but
it is.
Yeah, I do think a lot of it with limiting. I don't believe we're born with limiting beliefs. I think it's what we pick up through life and
through environments, experiences.
And I don't think it's a matter of blaming or pointing the finger. But I feel like the power is in the awareness and then what we do once we're aware with that limiting belief, how we shift that into an empowering, unlimited belief.
Yep, 100%. And usually it's important also to understand that limiting beliefs usually serve a purpose, and usually it's actually a protective mechanism that we have to avoid a sense of perceived failure or harm. So it's usually our body's way of trying to protect us, but where we tend to fall down is we then believe that limiting belief, and then it becomes ingrained, and then we don't know or have anything else to counter that belief. So it, over time, becomes an obstacle. It becomes something that hinders our growth and hinders our potential.
And while you were speaking, what comes to mind is how do we know when a belief is limiting? And we've spoken about emotions in previous episodes, and I feel like that's your compass there, that's your guide. As soon as you have a thought, for example, about yourself, if it doesn't feel good, it's limiting you, it's holding you back in some way.
Yeah. Often for me, what I say is this serving me or is this hindering me? Is this pushing me in a direction of where I want to go or is this holding me back? And those are kind of reflective questions that I ask. Now that I understand limiting beliefs, I would say limiting beliefs came into my awareness probably about 18 years ago. Prior to that, didn't know they existed. Didn't know what a limiting belief was. So I've done a lot of work over the last 8-10 years in bringing awareness to my limiting beliefs. Don't get me wrong, I still have them. They're still there, and some of the ones I'm going to touch on are some deeply ingrained ones. But that just takes time. It takes time and that awareness, and every time I have that thought or that belief or it comes up, then that awareness is really important because then I make a choice. Do I want to keep thinking this way or do I want to choose something else?
Yeah, and I think it's such a gift. Like you said, it serves a purpose. And this is where the growth's at, right?
Yes.
This is where we expand and evolve as human beings. This is where we can break cycles.
Yes.
Yeah, and make it better for the generations ahead.
I love that. Yeah, 100%. I think one thing around limiting beliefs is there's this idea, and this is something that we speak around with our why and a few other things, is it's coming from the head to the heart. I feel as though with our belief systems, a lot of them are held in our head. And unfortunately, our head tells us lies sometimes, but we tend to believe those lies. And something you touched on before is we can't change what we don't know or are aware of. And I think that is the best place to start and have that awareness is if I'm not aware of this, then I can't change anything. But if I start with awareness, and even as a result of our conversation today, we may pick up going forward some other things that were like, oh gosh, I didn't realize that was a limiting belief. I didn't realize I had this thought about myself or about others or situations or things.
And that's what the exercise does.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm assuming so that once I complete the exercise, I'm going to keep picking up. Yeah. Oh, I need to add that to the list. I need to add that to the list.
Yeah.
And I feel like the bigger the list, the better.
Yes.
Because again, it's just you can change.
Yeah.
Change it once you're aware of it.
Yeah. Do we want to touch a little bit on the lies that we tell ourselves and that have kept ourselves small?
That we're aware of at the moment? Yep. Absolutely. One that comes to mind for me is that people, when they first meet me, find me stuck up or unapproachable or they don't like me. I know this goes back to high school when I would have been year 9.
Yeah.
So I was very, very shy and large group of girlfriends. And yeah, I just really kept to myself. And a few of my friends would say, oh, this person said you're stuck up. They think you're a snob. Oh, she doesn't like you. And that's just stuck with me. So I just assume to this day, now that I'm in my 40s, that people think that of me.
Wow.
Yeah. And how that limits me is I don't go to too much effort to talk to new people. So potentially it's stopping me from making connections with amazing people.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we didn't connect initially 7 years ago and why we have now.
Yeah.
But that really has held me back. I just don't make much effort with people because I just assume they're not going to like me or they find me, just stuck up and don't want a bar of me.
Yeah, see that fascinates me because my interactions with you is the opposite of that. Like as a person that has got to know you, and even like you said, we've known each other for 7 or so years, but probably in the last year or so, we've really forged a friendship and become quite close in that sense. I would say that every time I'm with you, I'm uplifted, I'm inspired, I enjoy your company and really enjoy your presence.
Well, that just goes to show how 1 or 2 events in your life can stick and stay with you, and it leaves an imprint.
Yeah.
And it makes you believe something that isn't true.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm stuck up. I don't think I'm a snob.
No.
I think I still can be a bit shy and reserved. It's got nothing to do with that I'm stuck up. It's just me being an introvert in my shell a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, just believing that people won't like me.
Wow.
Yeah. Interesting, huh?
Yeah, that's
What's
really
one of yours?
This is an interesting one. I often don't want to be centre stage or have the spotlight on me, which is quite ironic, I know, as we do this podcast, as I share a little bit of my life on social media, certain snippets. But I think deep down, I think that I don't want to take up too much of a conversation because I think people don't want to hear what I have to say.
Oh,
And what I have to contribute is not valuable.
Annaliese.
I know. It's really weird because people listening to this and people that know me probably feel quite surprised by that because, like I said, I have done a lot of work on myself over the years. And I mean, for an example, and this actually, it links to kind of you talking about being shy. I am a very shy person.
See, is this a limiting belief that we're telling ourselves?
Yes, well, yes it is.
With what you just shared, where do you think you picked that up? What experience made you think that? Do you think? Like, what comes to mind?
I don't know if I can identify a singular event. I guess the story I was going to tell is when I first met Daniel. I met Daniel when I was quite young, late teens at uni. And like I said, at that time, I would say that I was shy. I can categorically say that I was quite a shy person back then. To the point that I swear for the first year, Daniel's friends thought I was a mute because I just wouldn't talk. But I think now that I reflect on it, I think I was so stuck up in my head of, oh, I don't want to say that because they'll think that sounds weird. Or, oh, I don't know how I'm going to contribute to the conversation. So I think for me, I was so stuck up in my head and my anxious thoughts that it was easier probably not to say anything than to say something and be perceived as, oh, she's a bit silly, or what's she talking about type thing.
I think most people will be able to relate to that. I can relate to that. So you think this is holding you back now? Because I feel like, look at you here, sitting here today, you're mindful mamas.
Yeah.
So that does surprise me that you say that.
So I would say it still holds me back, but not to the degree it used to. I still have, and this is probably where the subconscious comes into it, I still have those thoughts. And I remember sharing it not that long ago. I was out with a group of girlfriends and we were all chatting, having a great time. And I just left and I was like, I felt as though the conversation was on me too much. It's like I don't want to take up space. And if I talk too much, I'm like, oh, I'm not giving other people a chance to talk or things. So I reflected on that and I shared something with one of my friends and they're like, oh my God, Annaliese, what are you talking about? But once again, it's my own dialogue.
It's taking that journey from the head to the heart.
To the heart, yes. Yeah. And I think that's probably is in those moments when I believe those thoughts, I'm stuck in my head and I'm not in my heart space, recognizing, Annaliese, you're a beautiful soul. You have a lot to give and gift and you are worthy. I'd say worthiness is one of my biggest things around being worthy.
And maybe that's what you need to be running down with the exercise is I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to touch on the different voices that we have within the two different ones.
Yeah.
You know, it's very clear that this part of you saying, I'm not worthy.
Yep.
This part, what does that part say?
I am worthy. I am, or you can contribute. What you have to say is worthy. And the funny thing is, one of my things that I always say that is something that I'm really passionate about, and even in the work that, who knows, that I get into, I always say I want people to feel valued, heard, and seen. And I think I want that for others because I probably want it for myself.
So you need to value yourself more. You need to see yourself more and hear yourself more.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. What's another one of yours?
I have touched on it before, that I'm not a social person.
Okay.
So I have really not shared much of myself on social media,
Yes,
and you've inspired me to share more.
Yeah.
Because you create connections.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I've already received so many, not so many, but opportunities through doing that.
Yeah.
Such as this one.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
So
Definitely.
me believing that I'm not a social person, holds me back, as in it keeps me stuck where I am. It has me playing small. That's really what comes to mind. It keeps doors shut.
Yeah.
It's like, why? And I love the idea of being social. But
I understand that to a degree, because once again, I'm going to write this down because I feel as though this could be.
I love it how we're adding to this exercise list already.
Yeah. I feel as though this could be one, is I would say that I have social anxiety. And there's things that I've been learning around the languaging of what we say to ourselves. So rather than saying I have social anxiety, I experience social anxiety. It's a different dialogue, because have almost implies ownership, whereas that's not something true about me, but I do still experience social anxiety. And being in social settings sometimes can cause me to not want to be there. And so kind of like you, I can limit myself from being in social settings because of, once again, connecting to the head and what the head's saying about, you need to know everything, you need to know this, who's going to be there, what's it going to be like. All of those things go through my head. But in those moments, I need to connect with my heart.
That's it. You're in your head. So your head will believe I have social anxiety. And that's a story you tell yourself, and you've just shared, you've told us, you've put it out there.
Yeah.
Your heart would say, I am confident and empowered
in social settings
and shine my light when I operate from my heart space.
Yes.
There's no anxiety there.
No.
So it's like we're just living in our heads.
Oh, yes, indeed. And that's why you need to go from the head to the heart.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a key takeaway around limiting beliefs, is understanding. Move from the head to the heart and ask ourselves those questions. Is this my head speaking, or is this my heart speaking? In this moment, with whatever we're believing, the lies that we're telling ourselves, in this moment, am I listening to my head or am I listening to my heart?
I think even just being going back to emotions and being guided by emotions. So, for example, if I look in the mirror and I feel negative and a negative emotion, it's like, okay, pause for a second. What did I just think? Yes. And my head just said, God damn, I look like shit today. But if I was to go and say to my heart, how do I look today? My heart would be like, God damn, you're motherfucking beautiful.
Yes.
That would be, and so it's just really using your emotions as a guidance system. It's your GPS through life.
Yeah.
And whatever you're doing, when you catch yourself feeling off, it's like, what thought did I just have? And it could even be like when the kids, are arguing and I feel negative, but it's not actually due to what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's due to the thought I've just had when I see them doing it, which is, how many times have I told them to shut the, versus if I was to ask my heart, connected to that space, I would look at my kids and think, oh, I wonder what they need right now. And I'd lovingly go to them, go down,
get on their level.
Nicely.
Yeah.
Guys, what's going on?
Yes.
So it's just, it really is our why.
Yeah.
It's taking that journey from the head to the heart.
I think that's so powerful for everyone to hear and take on board, because it really is. And this is something we talk about a lot, is the awareness. If you don't have awareness, then you're not going to know these things. So everything starts with awareness and creating those moments of awareness around what we do believe. And I guess that's what this exercise is going to be, isn't it? It's creating awareness around what lies we're telling ourselves, what stories we believe about ourselves, and those limiting beliefs, those things that hold us back and keep us small.
I do think it is hard to change that when you are operating at a lower kind of frequency, when you're not feeling good most of the time, and that's your autopilot. And I think going back to our previous episode, we were talking about rituals, which is all about feeling good as possible. I feel like the more we can create a life where we're feeling good, the more you can then catch yourself when you're feeling off.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're feeling off all the time, you're kind of stuck.
Yeah.
There?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. And I think also what's really important to keep in mind is these beliefs are usually ingrained. So it's not just going to take a click of the fingers and then it's gone. Do this exercise and then it's gone. That's not what we're saying. This is going to take work. And this is what this topic is about, and raising awareness around this topic is recognizing what things are holding us back and how can we move into a place of shifting into a direction where instead of it hindering us, these beliefs serve us.
Absolutely. That journey, I always think it's that journey of returning back to your whole self, where you're just at your core, you're empowered,
Definitely. 100%.
So did you share your second one?
No.
What was it?
Oh, there's a few. I wrote a few down. I mean, I'm just going to share them and you can touch on which one you're intrigued by.
Yep.
So I don't like deep water.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to lose weight. And when I do, I put it back on straight away.
Yeah.
Money is hard to come by, or money doesn't grow on trees. I'm too shy. Touched on that one. And I'm woo-woo.
Well, let's talk about the woo-woo one, because I've put here, people will think I'm weird woo-woo if I show my true self.
Yeah.
And I can think back to certain people that have said comments about other people where, oh, God, she's into crystals, gypsy woo-woo, airy-fairy.
Yes.
People make stabs and comments at other people. And then if I'm also like that, I'm like, oh, people are going to think I'm weird and woo-woo.
Yeah.
So then I don't show people that side of me. I dim my light. I play small.
Yeah.
And where that limits me is it stops people from getting to know the real me.
Yes.
And I feel like when we're our true authentic selves and we're putting ourselves out there, it enables you to then find like-minded people and build a community, a tribe, and it eliminates the people that aren't for you. And there's nothing wrong with those people, just like there's nothing wrong with anyone, but it just puts you with your people and it eliminates the people that aren't for you.
Yep, 100%. And you've literally shared exactly what I would say around the I'm too woo-woo, because I'm the same. I've had moments in my life from different people, family, friends, people that say, and with one friend, we actually joke about it, and I don't mind that because it's kind of funny because she's like, Annaliese, you're so woo-woo, and we'll have a joke and then do something woo-woo. So it's almost like, well, she's a secret. She likes it as well. But, yeah, I do think it holds me back because, I guess there's that one story that I tell myself is probably a fear of judgment or fear of what will people think about me. And that's probably why I don't show certain sides, because it's easier just to play it safe in some arenas, keep the peace, and not show that side or have judgment. And I think that's probably something also that I'm worried about, and why I don't share it is, I'm worried about that judgment.
Or your head's worried about the judgment.
Yes.
What would your heart say to that?
My heart feels as though it's quite quiet for this one. I think my head's quite strong.
But
I can listen to the quiet.
Tell your head to
dimmer
to just sit on the back seat for a second and just ask your heart like what it has to say.
I think my heart would say things around kind of like what you've shared. You need to show your true self. You will draw into your life people that are aligned like that. And I think it comes back to love. Just loving yourself. Love your whole self.
Because my
heart is saying, love your whole self, everything about you. Yeah.
Because my head says, if I show my true self, people will judge me and ridicule me and rah-de-da. My heart says, if I show my true self, people that are meant for me, people will truly love me through being myself. No, not everyone's going to be a cup of tea.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? You're not going to please everyone, and you're not going to be everyone's friend. And That's okay.
And I feel like
Nothing wrong with that.
with being a parent, it's about leading by example.
Yes.
So I really hope that my boys can just live a life where they just feel free to be themselves.
Yes.
Like it's sad,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely.
Should we get into the exercise?
I think we need to get into the exercise. So this exercise it comes from Lisa Nichols, and it is an exercise that requires a bit of time. So we'll share this exercise, and this is an invitation for our listeners to take the exercise and do it at some point. It may be as you listen, it may be later down the track, but definitely do it. I think that's a key thing, is to do it.
Well, I was supposed to do it for the new year.
I know.
And I still haven't done it. I feel like it's a big task, but it's there always for me.
Yeah.
So
should we just kind of run through what it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
So she does say to get 16, I don't know why, but 16 blank pieces of paper, and write down every lie you tell yourself in pencil and look at all the different categories.
Mm-hmm. So that could be, you could talk about the lies that you have around money, like I'll never have enough money, money is hard to earn, why do I have to work hard to get money, money doesn't grow on trees. I think that's one that a lot of people have. So just get really honest around all the money lies you tell yourself.
Also with who you are as a person, your relationships, and that's romantic, family, friends, health and fitness, spirituality.
Recognize that it will get ugly. This is not going to be a pretty practice, is it? So it will get ugly, it will feel ugly, but it serves a purpose. So when you write down each lie, skip 4 lines.
And you want to be writing these lies down in pencil.
Then do we move to the red pen?
Yes.
Yeah.
So where you've left the spaces, you then get a red pen and you write the truth in between each lie, even if you can't believe it yet. And I just think the best way to do it, if you're not sure how to do it, is write the lie such as I'm shy and think, what is the opposite of I'm shy?
Yeah.
If you can't think of what your heart would say.
Yeah.
So the opposite of shy is I'm brave, bold, and confident.
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to believe it.
Yeah. So you write that underneath the lie in red pen. Now, from that point, you read both the lies and the truth for 2 days. Read the lie, then the truth, read the lie, then the truth, so on until you've finished all of it. Lisa Nichols recommends doing it 4 times each day.
For 2 days.
For 2 days, which can sound like a lot, but once again, set a timer, make it manageable, make it achievable for yourself. So do that for 2 days. The reason you do it 4 times each day is because it links to your neuro-linguistic pathways, your programming. You're trying to reprogram those pathways from the lie to the truth. After the second day of reading the lie and the truth, you are going to rub out all the pencil.
The lies.
Erase the lies, baby. So that's what you're going to do. You erase all the lies. You have the red pen. You keep affirming those truths. So read those truths, do this daily, and they could then become your affirmations going forward. One practice that I have done, linking to this, similar, is I write my affirmations down, but then I record it on my phone as a voice note, and then they become what I listen to each day in my affirmation practice in the morning. So that is the exercise.
I feel like as well for myself, I will keep reaffirming them until I feel like I no longer need to. I feel like there's no point in doing, and I'm interested to get your take on it. With affirmations, I feel like there's no point in saying an affirmation if you're not feeling it, if it feels like a lie, even though she says to do that initially. But one thing that I do, and I find it so powerful, is if I do say an affirmation and it feels negative, it's like, okay, subconsciously there's a part of me that doesn't believe it, but then I go to my heart and I'll get my heart to affirm it. And for me, pretty much every time it just feels amazing.
I think that's a really key distinction, is connect to the heart. What I would also say around affirmations or these truths that you now write is, if it feels really hard to believe it initially, write, I am learning to. And then by saying I am learning to trust myself in social situations, or I'm learning to, whatever the truth is, that just gives yourself a little bit of grace. And then as you get more confident, then you can move back to the I am. And the power of I am, those words with whatever follows, that is where that magic is. And that's where, when we connect to our heart space, because the heart knows, it knows that's truth. Usually the I am learning to is still the head, that little disconnect, but it's not to dismiss that some people may feel as though that feels really hard saying that. So it's just a little step back to support in that.
Once we're doing this, do you think once we catch new lies,
yes,
do you think add them to the list?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, once again, awareness is key.
Yeah.
And this is an ongoing practice, I reckon. It's something that's just...
I feel like I could take this practice to my grave.
Exactly. And once again, we really want to highlight that this is not just a practice you do and then you're healed and it's done and you're dusted and you can live a great life. It is a practice that, once again, like you said, it can be going to our grave.
I feel like constantly, day to day, we're being fed lies through, social media, society.
Yeah, exactly.
Ourselves. So it's like, a lifelong practice.
Definitely. Okay, we're going to move to our game. Coincidentally, this game is called Two Truths and a Lie. So how the game is played is we'll each take turns sharing 3 statements. 2 of them are truth and 1's a lie, and then the other person has to guess. And for our listeners, you can just tune in and see if you can pick out what the lie is. This is a great game to play to get to know people as well. So, Natalia, you can start off.
I'm so curious to see what you're going to think's the lie in these.
Okay.
So the first one, I had to go to the principal's office with my mum when I was around 7 or 8 years old. I can't remember how old, for punching a girl in the face. Okay. And it was a hard punch. Like, it was pretty intense and bad. The second one, I lived in Croatia from the age of 1 to about 2.5.
Okay.
And the third one, I was a really shy child and teenager.
I feel it, so I can eliminate one. So I'm going to say the lie is... okay. I'm going to say the lie is that you lived in Croatia from the age of 1 to 2.5. I say it's a lie because I know that your background is Croatian. So I was almost leaning to that could be truthful. But I feel as though you've been in New Zealand for most of your life.
It's the lie is that I lived in Croatia from the age of 1 to 2.5.
So you definitely did punch someone in the face.
She stole an Easter egg from my bag. I was so upset.
That's punch worthy. No, we shouldn't encourage
it was actually
violence.
really bad.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was just so upset. I wanted my Easter egg.
Oh no. Okay. I have 5 brothers and 2 sisters. I have a fear of heights. Growing up, I did jazz and ballet.
I don't think you did jazz or ballet.
That is true. I did do jazz and ballet. I just thought because I said that I love dance, you might have connected that that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's true. So it's out of I have 5 brothers and 2 sisters, or I have a fear of heights. What's the lie?
You don't have a fear of heights.
No, I don't.
Well, you're looking to jump out of a plane with me soon, so you can't.
But I do have 5 brothers and 2 sisters.
I should have thought about that more.
Yes.
I just went straight in there.
Yep.
Okay, next one. When my kids were little, maybe 5 years ago, I would sit in silent meditation for 1 hour religiously every morning.
Okay.
I've accidentally saged my house so much, the fire alarm went off. I've never experienced deja vu before.
Okay, this is a hard one. I'm going to say that you... Okay, I need to pick out the lie. Okay. You accidentally saged the house so much the fire alarm went off?
Yeah, I don't really do sage,
Oh,
but
don't you?
you know, I do every now and then, but it's just not my thing.
I thought that would have been a wild one if it was true. So you have experienced deja vu? Or no?
No,
I've
I've
never experienced deja vu.
No. I know. Crazy, huh?
That is crazy.
I know.
Yeah. And then, yes, I did kind of believe that meditation one just based on conversations we've had.
It was such a long time.
That is an hour. I'm impressed.
That was life-changing. Thanks, Jay Shetty. I got that
bloody
tip off
impressed with that one. Okay. Mine. I've met Victoria Beckham. I have travelled to over 15 countries, and I broke my arm while snowboarding in Bulgaria.
15 countries, a lie.
No, it's truthful.
Snowboarding.
Snowboarding.
Ah.
Yes.
Why did I think you had broken something? Have you broken something?
It wasn't broken, it was cracked. So I kind of told a white lie, I've cracked my ribs. It wasn't snowboarding either. There's a story to that, but we don't need to go into it. It involves alcohol and dancing. So
Did you see David Beckham?
he wasn't there.
Damn it. David.
I know. So he wasn't there, but she came round and I got to see her.
Cool.
So yeah.
Next one.
Yes. Last one.
I was a tomboy when I was in primary.
Mm-hmm.
About 3 years ago, I dreamt the winning lotto numbers. And 8 years ago, I manifested flying first class from London to Singapore.
Ooh.
Which one's a lie?
That's actually hard.
I know. That was the purpose.
I'm going to say you dreamt the winning lotto numbers. Is that a lie?
The lie
Or is that truthful?
is that I was a tomboy when I was in primary. I wasn't.
So you weren't a tomboy.
No,
So you did dream the winning lotto numbers?
I'm not blooming kidding you.
Shit.
Yeah.
Did you do anything with that or no?
I'm not kidding you. Those numbers came out and I was kicking myself. Yeah.
Wow.
So I could have won a lot of money.
God.
Cool. Your last one.
My last lot. I learned salsa dancing when I was 20 weeks pregnant.
Yep.
When teaching in London, I once had a class of 7 students, and I can play the piano.
I don't think you could play the piano.
That's a pretty easy one. Okay, we're going to finish off with your key takeaways from this conversation that we've had around unlearning the lies, breaking free from our limiting beliefs. What's been a key takeaway for you?
I'm not sure if I've taken anything away. I've learned a bit about you with the game.
Okay.
But I feel really inspired to go and do the Lisa Nichols exercise this weekend.
Yep.
What about yourself?
For me, I think it comes back to something we speak about a lot, is moving from the head to the heart. That was really insightful for me to recognize when I have those limiting beliefs, I am operating from my head space. And when I ask what the truth of that is, that's when I connect to my heart space. So that was really insightful for me to take away from our session today.
Cool.
Yeah. We're going to wrap it up by expressing gratitude. So I will start by saying I'm grateful for vulnerability, for being able to share some of this. It can be confronting, but even in conversation, we learn more about ourselves, but we also learn more about others. So I'm grateful for vulnerability.
I am grateful for what springs to mind or heart is social media. I feel like so many people bag it. I feel so much gratitude towards it that there's people on there such as Lisa Nichols.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much life-changing content on social media.
Yeah.
So I'm just feeling really grateful for social media and that we came across that Lisa Nichols exercise.
Definitely.
And that's another episode done.
Thank you for tuning in to the Soul Intention podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please rate, review, and follow. It helps us keep these conversations going. Until next time, stay soul-led and heart-centered. From the head to the heart.